Sweet. So it's 7:05. We've dropped the agenda in the chat so you can follow along. If not, you can just listen to us talk. But in a agenda, there are some helpful links for you to store, bookmark. So you may just want to save it for later. But if you go into there, you'll see an icebreaker. We can answer it throughout the chat, or we can, talk about it a little bit more during open discussion, but just something to ponder upon as we go. So first and foremost, these links. So we do. Most of you may have came from the website, but we do promote our link trees a lot. They offer a little bit more resources. Like our link tree, our main link tree will lead you to our welcome packet, which will lead you to additional resources. That additional resources is the GSUS resources link that you see in the agenda. Most of these resources have been created by members within the Discord and without the Discord. They, are evolving documents that will continue to grow with us as we move forward. Some of these resources, are in the beginning stages. They have much potential to be utilized for further projects and so on and so on. So just getting started, the code of conduct was specifically made for Discord, but we definitely hope that some of the advice within the code of conduct is utilized, in our everyday lives. The gist of it, we all know the golden rule is treat others how you like to be treated. We know it's a lot of ideologies within this Discord, but we just want to respect each other. Respect each other. If you're in a conversation and you feel like it's a little heated and you're not into having a conversation, just disengage. You can always add a moderator, but just keep it civilized, respectful. We don't have to change everyone's mind within the Discord. We can disengage. I have to tell myself that as well. um yeah, as long as they're not being obnoxious, as long as it's not a safety issue. Sometimes you can disengage, you can block, and so on and so on. And we want to practice discipline, because there's going to be a lot of things, to piss us off, to try to get us to react. And we just always want to be critical and have some type of discipline. Everything doesn't deserve a reaction, you know and it may deter us from the real goals, the real task at hand. So next, you'll see our welcome packet. The welcome packet basically is an interactive document. um, it basically gives like a overview of General Strike US's goals, values. Why are we organizing chapters? Why do we want to focus on coalition building? It talks a little bit about the strike card. It has a lot of helpful links to it. But the strike card is definitely for everyone's use. If you have a friend, if you are connected to another organization or a group, and you want to drop the seed of the General Strike US, shoot them the welcome packet. It's definitely a good digital tool to utilize for for outreach and things of that nature. If you are off mic and you have a lot of background noise, we just ask respectfully if you can mute yourself till the end, just so we're not distracting each other. And sometimes it throws me off when I'm talking, to be honest. So next we have the resource and skills form. The resource and skills form is just a better way for us to organize exactly what it is. It's very straightforward. Our resources and skills. Also, it's a way to build connections, especially with different groups or orgs who may be a little skeptical or not ready to sign the actual strike card. This is a way to continue and build relationships. We all can play a role in contributing, to our resistance. Whether it's a basic need, whether it's a skill or a service. This form is a way for us, to basically condense all of that and better have a better view of the support that we need and that we're working up to and things of that nature. So the resource and skills form is big, especially when we have our coalition meetings, and we're connecting with new and pre-existing coalition members. So next you'll see additional resources within the GSUS resource link. Some questions that you may have can definitely be answered within this link tree. You'll find like GSUS structure. Why do we have a strike card? GSUS and our relationship with unions. You'll see like a list of General Strike US active chapters, our social media pages, some helpful resources like our outreach guide. It has templates for you to use. We just want to, make this whole process a little bit easier. We know a lot of people come in and they might not have a lot of experience and so on and so on. So these are tools once again to help you get started in a lot of this, and especially helping grow this movement. We can all, play some type of role in doing so. Small actions, big actions. It all helps the collective momentum. So yeah, it's some outreach templates. Then there's just so we can say organize the outreach tracking. A lot of these documents, when you read them, they have a lot of links in them. They can take you to other documents. So yeah, when you have time and your free time and your leisure time, just go ahead and explore, check out the different documents, the different resources. We recently got like a couple presentation slides that goes over our values like decentralization, diversity, dissent, which is very important for people to understand, especially if we're going to be doing outreach and things of that nature. You'll also find like PDFs for GSUS flyers, designs, pamphlets, and graphics, which is pretty cool. It's all different varieties of flyers and designs, and it will continue to grow. If you are if you are creative, if you are an artist and you like to contribute, please do so. You can always share your contributions, and I think it's a GSUS media channel. I think that's what it's called now, but I'll double check. All right, and next you'll see like a bunch of how to's. These how to's are crucial because we need to know how to do a lot of these things. Like I say, some people are coming in, straight off the picket line, and they don't know about community organizing, and they don't know how to set up these services and programs like mutual aid, community trash pickup. We hold a lot of power. We can solve a lot of our problems if we got involved and created a lot of these programs. So these are the tools to help us get an idea, and every community of course will be different. This is just a starter, and we do have to take some responsibility to get more involved, possibly tailor it more so to our community, but it's definitely a great start. So you'll find a lot of information within those two links right there. Once again, I know most of you came from the website or some of our social medias, but this is just a reminder that we need and we are organizing to get 3.5% of the population engaged in sustained participation. So we just don't want people signing a strike card. That's definitely the first step. It's good, but we can have a lot of people sign the strike card, but if we're not actively empowering our communities, if we're not creating these services, programs, engaged, if we can't sustain ourselves and meet the needs of the people, especially our most vulnerable and marginalized communities, then essentially we will fail. We'll have a lot of people still depending on the WalMarts and the Amazons and whatnot, and possibly can't strike so we need these infrastructures. We need the infrastructure to strike, and we can't depend on the corporations, the politicians, or some of these institutions. You have to put in the work as well. So that being said, I'll open the floor up to a new project, a new program that that's been stirring up around here, a time banking program. And if Jaden is here, I'll go ahead and let them explain more into that and what that entails.
And today it is Sunday. It is
E- Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave, for the solid
people
hosting
working.
so far.
This
Um,
president is part of the attempt to overwhelm us.
I don't
Hold
think
on.
they know
They
they're on
could have
mute.
done it
They're
Friday.
off mute.
This is just like it's psyops.
All right, you
Silence.
good, Jaden?
Okay, cool. But yeah, the
Jaden,
time banking project
is
and
that better?
program came up to
There
address
you go.
the
Jaden,
needs
start
of
over.
mutual.
Start over.
Okay. Yeah, the Time Bacon project and program came up from addressing the needs of mutual aid. I've been with the network for a little bit, and I've noticed a lot of the projects that we do and stuff is all great, fine and dandy. But I think time baking itself poses a solution and an apparatus for us to help us seek that liberation and materialize the mutual aid that we need. So, what is time baking? So, just briefly, so instead of paying for services with dollars and money and a currency, well, the currency now we'll be using is people's time. And I'll go into more in this later this week. And the purpose of this announcing it now is to let people know that I will be in here in the Discord around the same time from 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern in the voice chats for the next 3 days to hash out this time baking project with the public, with everyone here, with people on certain teams, getting feedback and critiquing the program to really ensure that this survival program, this time baking project, actually addresses and serves the needs of the people. So, in essence, a time bank, and I like to use the example as a mechanic since I fix cars. Instead of paying $150, $200 for a service, maybe an oil change, we would coordinate just getting the parts, and I would source all of my labor, right? Because in a time bank, you utilize labor just like anywhere else in any workplace. But instead of money being using that transaction, like that $200, $150 for the oil change, now you're only paying for parts, and you're just compensating me or whoever is performing the service with time credits. So instead of paying that $200, it'll only be $50. Then you can save that 150, 100, however many dollars you saved at the time bank to pay for needed rent, bills, other things that you may need to pay for that the time bank can't compensate. So I'll go into a little bit more detail about the time bank program across the next 3 days. But this program addresses the mutual aid questions that we've been getting about the strike, because, as we're building momentum of the strike and establishing the structures and infrastructure needed to strike, we need to have a tangible mutual aid network. And this time banking project program is to make that materialize, mutual aid network. So I'll speak more about that, but it's the same time, about 4 p.m. my area, 7 p.m. Eastern, here in the Discord for the next 3 days. I will be here Monday through Wednesday working on the project, showing slideshows, presenting, articulating the project, taking in questions, addressing them, so that we can address the needs that we have to make this project a real thing. And it's going to start off online, but hopefully I would have our chapters start in-person time banking, but we can use this online platform to help adapt those in-person time banks. So thank you, Day, for letting me speak about this announcement. Just again, broken record, let everyone know that I'll be here for the next 3 days around the same time in the voice channels, showing presentation slides and developing the time bank project with everyone here, the public and the people. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jaden, for sharing that. And we're definitely looking forward to being a part of it and helping out any way that we can. Definitely a great program to help us move forward. Excellent. So just moving forward, we have another initiative being planned, GSUS Mayday initiatives. Um, for those who don't know, May Day is like an international workers movement, and started here in the U.S. The day of the most events rallies will be started May 1st. So we want to get ahead of the game. We want to participate. It deals like with labor initiatives, the labor movement. If you want to know more about that, there is a channel. We are asking like our chapters to get involved with it. We're trying to do like tabling during these events. We're trying to do a panel discussion revolving around May Day, and how the General Strike US plays into it. I dropped the channel in the chat. It's called Mayday Coordination. If you are doing anything around that time, I know a lot of events will be popping off between May 1st and May 5th. Definitely check it out. Should be dope. A good way for us to build momentum and make some good connections. So next we have a couple volunteer requests. we ask these from time to time, basically weekly, every time we do a meeting on Sundays. But we're definitely looking for volunteers. So we are in a process of um, well, we've already started our Operation Starfish project. That's basically us breaking off into smaller groups. So right now we're in the national Discord. Operation Starfish is a project in which to get us into like our regional discords. So we are looking for moderators for these discords. If you haven't already, check out with your state channel. Check out how you can help. They may need help, when they're ready to start their regional Discord. And, if you have experience, by all means, that'd be a great contribution. And I do know a lot of states and regions already started having like meetings. For Michigan, we'll be having our first one in April. So yeah, definitely check out your state channels. It's a lot of great people, and if it's not active, please do not get discouraged. Just reach out, and we'll do what we can. This is definitely a marathon and not a sprint. So we just have to keep that in mind. We talked about the GSUS time making project. So organizing workshops. We're trying to have more workshops. We're trying to, build a sense of community here, keep our online community safe here. If you have a skill, if you know how to sew, if you want to do like a cooking workshop, um, anything, like if you want to do like a coding workshop, anything with music, or just teach a lesson, definitely reach out. We're looking, to fill in some days, to fill in some more spots, even if you don't want to host it here on Discord, or if you're already doing something on another platform, just reach out. You can add me, you can add a moderator and let them know, and we'll try to get it up on the calendar. So yeah, that will be great. I think before we had like a hydroponics workshop. We had like a meditation workshop before. Yeah, it's a large spectrum here. We can teach each other all different types of skills. So we are also looking for volunteers to keep the GSUS Design collaboration project going. If you are artists, once again, if you do graphics, or if you are good at researching, we can use a researcher to help us out, and that way, they give us the information, we can just turn it into a design. Um, I'll go and drop that channel in the chat as well. But we do have a couple of designs already created, but the more the merrier. Forgot the channel name, y'all. Collaborative Design Creation Project Suite. Yeah, that's where most of the designs came from. And the link tree is like folks right here contributing. It's really awesome. So some good channels to look out if you are new, if you would like to explore the Discord, check in the directory. It basically has the same links like the welcome packet and other helpful resources. You can check in the projects. The projects, it may be some older projects in there, but if it resonates with you, try to get in contact with the person that started the project, or start another version of it yourself. Just reach out. You can, if you have an idea for a project or anything like that, these are the meetings, times that we can discuss it. If you like to start host a meeting of your own about a project, this is a collaborative effort. And we want to empower everyone, to utilize this movement how they see fit, how they can empower their community or the collective as a whole. So yeah, the state channels are also important to check out, and check out teams here. So we have like strategy team, outreach, social media, and education. A couple of these teams have already started having meetings. So that's great that they're active, especially our outreach and tech and strategy. Very important. But yeah, we also, I think the community support team is also a good place. Like if you are good at welcoming people, we need people to just welcome the new members that come into the Discord, So check that out as well. Just some quick announcements. Um, Damn, we still got a lot more to go, you all. All right, so we talked about the Operation Starfish. You can see the document there that goes into it a little bit more. Just some quick announcements. One of our partners, Strike for Resignation, they are having their town hall meeting on March 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. If you are free and available, definitely go and support them. It'll be they have some great hosts. I think they're having Chris Moss there and another individual, Afeni. I have to get their name, but I'll try to drop the flyer for that town hall in the chat a little bit later during the meeting. Um, we'll also be having our own coalition meetings, just like a town hall meeting, just a different name. But we're having our coalition meeting. It'll be March 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. That's on Jitsi. You'll also find the link for that coalition meeting in the calendar here in the Discord. Coalition meetings is just like a similar meeting to this, but an opportunity for us to connect with new and pre-existing coalition members, see how we can demonstrate mutual solidarity, encourage them to sign a resource and skills form, and so on and so on. If you are connected with any groups, any organizations that may be interested in joining, this General Strike coalition, definitely invite them out. We'll love to hear from them, and I'm sure it's other groups that they'll probably like to connect with as well. It's just not about GSUS. Other groups can connect there as well. So we do have a potential partner here. Uh, they can't speak right now, but they can chat. Excuse me, comrade. I really cannot pronounce the Discord name. I believe it's Cortatious, but if I fucked it up, I do apologize. Um, but they have a website listed if you all would like to check it out. They're here. They are trying to get people to see what they do. They would like support and they would like to collaborate with General Strike US. So definitely check them out. I'll probably do so a little bit more and see how we can best demonstrate mutual solidarity. But it's definitely just not up to one person. It's going to be a lot of people. Seeing how, and it you may resonate with some people better than other people, and that's definitely fine. So definitely you all check it out, share it. I'm pretty sure we'll be hearing more from them. Let me just check the chat real quick. Oh, sweet. Yep. Thanks, Ash. Yeah, I looked at the website a little bit. It was pretty dope. Um, so yeah, thanks for being here. Um, so we'll end it off with just telling you all about our Discord activities. You can check out some activities in the calendar. Sometimes people drop them in announcements or the bulletin board. Every Wednesday we have political education discussions, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Saturdays we have movie night. And then on Tuesdays we just started doing like political theory videos. We do have our comrades, the BPP Michigan. They may drop their information here from time to time. They have documentary clubs every Tuesday, every third Tuesday of the month. Once again, if you're interested in hosting a workshop, please DM or tag them. Awesome. So we've made it to the open discussion. I know you all may have a lot of questions or thoughts. Please share. Please come off mute. I definitely want to hear it. Or I can read off from the chat. It's no problem. Yeah, we do have Stack.
There's one small announcement that I could make next week. It's before this session at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. That'll be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the fundraising in the strike fund session. So we had our first session today. It went well. And we were brainstorming basically guidelines for each of the chapters and communities to learn how to set up their own strike funds, right? So that's the goal, is creating like a document to do that with guidelines information. So that'll happen again next week. And we were thinking about reporting back to the strategy team and or the outreach team for fundraising, so we weren't sure exactly which team to connect to with that. So if anyone had ideas, but otherwise, just letting you know. Check.
Sweet, that sounds awesome. I'm glad you all got that off the floor and in motion. I would probably reach out to both. Seem like they can both have some insight. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll definitely start with both for sure until we hear otherwise. Or
All
maybe
right,
eventually create a new finance team or something. Who knows? We'll see.
sweet. And just some questions in chat. We have: is there an intent to have a single list of demands tied to the general strike? Yeah, so once we get into phase two, it will be when we are at 6 million individuals. There'll be basically a time where we connect with coalition members, experts, advocates who advocate for different struggles of the sectors, and we'll be finalizing, drafting strike demands. Now, in the meantime, this is why our chapters are very important, because for example, the chapter I'm in, our job basically is to be the eyes and ears of the streets, to listen to our community. So we've been involved in a lot of community work, so we are kind of hearing a lot of the demands that our community would like, or are going towards, are basically raising their consciousness and getting towards. So our chapters basically help play a role in that as well, and our connections with other coalition members who advocate for certain things. There's this one group I work with called the Prison Radio Riot. So their position will be, helping us craft better strike demands for our incarcerated individuals, possibly, policing and things of that nature. Other groups may be able to help us, craft other strike demands, but it's definitely going to be a collective effort and not just GSUS. But definitely, our chapters play a big role into that, as far as doing the community surveys. However they do it, they can hold a community event, community teaching, anything. But along the way, they should be, listening to the people and understanding what the people wants, and the direction that they would like to go in. We have another question from Starboy. Do you have any advice on getting people involved who say they're tired of politics? And you all can help answer these questions as well. I have a certain perspective. Um, I would say that the advice that I would give personally is just reminding them that everything is tied basically to politics. How they eat, where they live, all of it is tied to it. Yeah, so if they're tired of politics, then I don't know. Do they care about themselves? I would ask them that. Um, what do you all think?
I have some thoughts on that. I've been speaking with a couple of members about that very issue. My interest in politics and my dissatisfaction with the whole situation right now is what led me here. And then I discovered all the other activities that GSUS is involved in. And I think maybe the best way to lure people who say, I don't care, I hate politics. What they hate is the campaigning and the lies and the way that money corrupts the whole political process. But if you simply say, look, I understand that you're upset, you're looking for solutions, we are offering something different. And in the end, one of the things we want to do is change the political system so that you don't have to hate politics.
Hmm. Right on. I like that. Yeah, I see someone put. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I definitely appreciate that. And one thing that I heard you mention there was that, um, you know, what they're tired of, like asking, sort of focusing on what their pain point is. And I guess for people who are just sort of generally apathetic, who are like just checked out of all of it and just sort of not willing to get involved. Maybe that wouldn't be the best place for me to put my time trying to convince them.
Exactly.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and
And I
just
think,
getting involved.
oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I think another important thing is that part of the whole political situation is the huge divide, between what used to be friendly rivals, and now it seems that everybody hates everybody else that's on the other side. Um, Here in Maine, there are a lot of rural communities that are, quite conservative, even though we're sort of a blue state. But a lot of the values in this movement, in terms of self-sufficiency and taking care of each other, they're not so radical as some of our public-facing information might lead people to believe. I have conservative members of my family who think that, I have been radicalized by GSUS, and, it's like this Marxist organization. And if people knew more about the motivations and the things that we care about, and how, our efforts are going to make their lives better, just like they will make our lives better, it might help to build buy-in.
Gotcha, that
Right
makes
on.
sense.
We have Ari
Yeah,
on
Eric.
set.
Ariadne. So just kind of listening to what people have been saying. Um, and I know that in the past, I have been very rigid in my stance and my beliefs in terms of, MAGA this, MAGA that, MAGA is evil, da da da. But I think no time is better like the present to try to understand that all of the things that, of all the things that matter don't necessarily belong within the realm of politics. It's just been politicized by people. So um, I think it comes down to, okay, well, what matters to you? What do you want to see stay that you don't want to go away? What safeguard do you want to keep, or do you envision that you're going to need? So I mean, I guess maybe going about it in that approach. What do you need? What do you want to be there? That's just kind of where I'm at.
Facts. Thanks for sharing. Anyone want to add anything to that, or have anything else they want to share? Yeah, so just to piggyback, the self determination, striving towards collective sustainability is just really gonna, bring us closer to advancing the struggle. And I think, by getting involved in, these services, programs, and just getting involved in community, whether it's a community potluck, anything, people will start seeing the power, that we have, and we are definitely capable of basically, running and keeping each other safe. We are capable of governing our own, communities. And I think when people say they are tired, they are just tired of giving up that responsibility. They're tired of, being they are tired of giving up that power and it, being exploited, used against them, abused by the people that they believe they can trust. So I think it'll just spark that light, back into a lot of people. Maybe the light they had, when we was kids. That imagination, that creativity. That light. You know. So I think as we move forward, and then as we continue to practice and partake in a lot of these solutions, a lot of that will dwindle out, and some people need to see it to believe it. They may see, some of these, communities that we are empowering, prosper, and then they may, follow suit and, jump on a bandwagon. By any means, we shouldn't, just think of this movement as like a traditional picket picket sign movement of 11 million people in the streets. We should be envisioning, community. We should be envisioning, programs, for our disabled community, our elderly, our homeless community. How can we, fix the problems that we see within our community? How can we create more third spaces, so we can withhold our labor, so we can withhold our purchasing power, so we don't have, the single parents still shopping, still having to shop at, the Amazons or shit, even in Family Dollars, or any of these companies, but we are shifting our time, our energy, our money, back into our communities. When we say we're going to strike, that's essentially what we're doing. We want to set up these systems of sustainability to where we don't, have to participate, to where we are essentially occupying our own communities. Why? Because we've executed perfectly, these systems of support. So a lot of you are saying, GSU has radicalized you. Before that, I know we dropped the icebreaker down. Like, that any like what books or movies or songs radicalize you? I can, a lot of songs. I think music definitely radicalized me. At a very young age. I listened to revolutionary artists at a young age, and I think that's what really got the gears rolling for me.
I agree with that. Some music's incredible for radicalization, I guess, or just teaching and like feeling what's really going on.
Right on. It's a lot of songs. Like, I don't think a lot of people really listen to the lyrics. Like, I think they just listen to the beat, But it's a lot of songs out there that spitting knowledge or spitting the truth. And I will say it's a lot of stuff out there that tell you half truths and half lies as well. But
Rage Against the Machine. That's who it was
right
for me
on.
that really kind of got me back in the 80s
Mm.
or 90s. God, I'm old.
No, I agree. I agree. I got a rage patch right in front of me. I'm sewing up my jacket this whole time.
hmm Yeah, art, music, the whole creative arts is a very powerful tool that we should, continue to utilize. We actually need more of it, more artists that's not co-opted, here speaking for the empire, but that speaks for the people, you know. A lot of jazz, like I listen to some jazz too. I listen to the old heads, but a lot of jazz artists was like on that, revolutionary activist um mindset as well.
Anyone in particular like that you'd recommend?
Maybe John Coltrane.
Okay.
John
Mm,
Coltrane.
nice.
Um, I love the Coltranes. John Coltrane had a wife named Alice Coltrane. They worked
Oh,
with this one guy named Pharaoh. Yeah, Pharaoh. I think Pharaoh Sanders, and like John's evolution, like it was just like typical jazz when they got started, but towards the end, Cuz reached a new level. It's like spiritual jazz, they was really tapping into the frequencies and really trying to put us hip, through them frequencies. Music speak to you, but John Coltrane specifically, he made this one song called Alabama. And it was like in the same cadence as Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. Yeah, and it was like a little bit after the bombing in Alabama, with the four little girls who passed away, but
Mm,
that song was dedicated to them.
yeah, music and art and poetry writing can move people in ways that simple conversation can't.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we need to get back to singing. If we're gonna be out there protesting, let's come up with
That's right.
song, you know what happened to the song?
Absolutely.
Yes,
I
what can we sing at protest? Because
we
I
can
we were
sing
talking about
the
this at the last protest for Colorado.
Hmm. Yeah.
Good songs to know for that specifically. Great.
there's a Lucy Kaplansky song that I heard the other day. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Folk singer. That,
Hmm.
of course, the name escapes me now because I'm trying to think of it. But I'll post it. It
Okay.
was really moving. And also the Bread and Roses strike song.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's an excellent,
Okay. Maybe I'll pass those on
excellent
to the
marching
Colorado.
song.
We'll learn them together. Get a song going out one of these days marching.
Maybe we have some musical folks here who would be averse to collaborating and coming up with our own strike music.
Hmm. That'd be something.
I think it's a project for that. I can drop it in the chat. But I think they just need some more volunteers.
I can do a bit of music. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Making art is always nice.
That would be cool. I can do some writing.
Yeah, I dropped it in the chat for you all.
Oh, and speaking of writing and the Bread and Roses strike, I just want to throw out there that the National Substack finally went live this weekend.
Hell yeah.
And the debut item is sort of a look back at Bread and Roses and my family's connection to Lawrence, Massachusetts and labor more broadly.
Hell yeah, that's a good spot to be. We want to be everywhere, pushing the message.
Oh,
I heard. Mm,
absolutely. I am reaching out to, other sort of public facing groups so that we can all amplify each other's content.
mm. Oh, so we have a question. I have a question about the general strike. Yeah, so when we hit 3.5%, that is when a strike date will be called. But even before that, um, you know, we shouldn't just be signing the strike card and just waiting around. We should be signing the strike card. We should be getting involved in our communities, to the of course, to our capacity, our abilities, and trying to empower our communities in some form or fashion. Even before we get to 3.5%, we should be at least seeing, some of the infrastructure working. You know, we should be having a sustainable system. We should be having multiple mutual aid systems. Seeing some of these strike funds. Seeing the time banking program prosper. We should, have some type of free medical clinics and things of that nature. Like we may be maybe some people that maybe some regions, some chapters that have this already set up before we hit 3.5%, and they may kind of already just be withdrawn. So in the process, while we are working up to the 11 million individuals, we want to be actively trying to build this infrastructure. We all have a role to play within doing that, whether it's starting a community garden, or connecting with a food co-op, or starting a food co-op. Cooperatives are also a great program or service that can be started. There's people out there that have the financial resources to do so. We need more workers co-ops. We need more land and housing. The land and housing co-ops can, as a solution to the homelessness that we're going to see increase. So it's a lot that we
Mhm.
can be doing before we reach the 3.5%, before we hit that threshold.
And as we build those up, I think it will lend legitimacy to us if we can say, well, yeah, we can take care of you because we already have this and that. So you don't have to be as afraid of the strike.
Right on. And this is just not, when I say we, it's not like just the General Strike US. This is like, when I say
Right.
we, like General Strike US and the coalition members we've connected with. We may have allies, across borders and, overseas helping us out. This is also an
Yeah,
international struggle, for liberation and equity. So when I say we, that's what I mean. This is a collective
yeah,
effort, and not just General
ab-
Strike US.
absolutely.
Yeah, I had to get back in contact with them, but we had like comrades in Canada, working. It was a whole like I think their whole motto was like "Can strike." That was sweet as shit. But yeah, right.
Do you think they'd let us go move in with them if things get worse here?
Yeah, it's definitely some solidarity. So I stay in Detroit, and there was a protest like a day or so ago, and we can see like over across Windsor, and like a couple comrades was
Oh,
out protesting against Trump, and then they seen like comrades across over in Canada like organized the protest too, and like it was like shouting, you know, across to each other. The solidarity is there.
that's awesome.
All right, peace, Jay. See you around.
Yeah, talk to you later. Thanks so much.
Yeah, we're just shooting the shit right now, you all. If you all have to leave, I'll be leaving like exactly at 8. But if you all have to go, please have a great rest of your evening, your day. I'll stay around a couple more minutes and try to, answer questions and whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump out, Jay, but thank you so much, and it was lovely meeting you.
Sweet. Thank you. See you around, group. Peace, Bonnie. Thanks, Stan. And thank you for being here. Everyone that's here, that's in this Discord, we're all, helping advance the struggle. Thank you all for being here. Without you, this can be no movement. No one person can do it alone, and no one group can do it alone.
I have a question.
What's up?
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Ooh, I haven't figured that out. I typically just do one lick and then I'm crushing it.
Like the owl?
That was a great question.
Thanks. I'm comic relief.
Right.
Thanks for putting all this together as well and facilitating and whatnot. I've been in the Discord for. I don't even remember how I found this Discord, honestly, but it's been great learning experience for me, and that'll help me hopefully down the line when I can maybe open a DSA, help open a DSA here where I'm at, and get some kids to run it.
Absolutely. That
Mhm.
cross organizing is helpful as well.
Yeah, it's just hard when you're trying to survive, barely survive yourself.
I know, and that's why like my main focus, like I think soon, if not this year, next year, we should definitely try to get like a base, some type of infrastructure, physical base, some land. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the vision. Because I know most of us, we might not be in a place where we can build, community and whatnot. We need to have, these alternatives for those individuals or individuals that just want to be around like-minded people.
yeah, and they can still and contribute, because this online
Absolutely,
space is very important for revolution.
absolutely.
All right, well, I'm gonna go back to cleaning up this beat up RV that I hope I can get out of here. It's a metal box, not a cardboard box, so.
Keep your head up. I know it's a lot going on. I know we all got life going on, but definitely keep your head up and do not get discouraged. And if you need
Yeah,
like a friend to talk to, please reach out.
yeah, I do sometimes. So that's another reason why I appreciate this community and such that y'all have built up here. And actually, well, the thing that helps me, I feel like the most is, even though I have all this going on, I still do my best to participate in local stuff. Like I was on the St. Patrick's Day float thing as St. Patricia, piss people off. Anyways, um, and and stuff like that, and go to the meetings and talk with them. And even some of these boomers are actually not. They're not as conservative as you would think. They just don't know what the fuck is going on anymore.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So I'm hoping to help be kind of a bridge in that gap between the new and the not as new.
It is. I see a lot of OGs, a lot of old heads that definitely get it, and I pass the mic over to them and let them talk to they peers. you know,
Yeah, and they bring a lot of wisdom and such too, because a lot of us have been fighting something or rather since for me like since the 80s. I was in
hmm
I was getting kicked out of bathrooms as a little kid because people didn't know I was a girl.
hmm
So
fight
I
the
know the
power.
struggle. Yeah. Thank yeah. The joys of being androgynous.
Yeah, but just to say that, like I went like my first time at Pride, was like the best experience ever is when I was younger, but it was just such a relief just to know I felt so free just to go into a fucking bathroom. Like it was just the
You
smallest
know,
thing, but yeah.
when I was a kid, I it got to a point like I got drug out by my ear sometimes. That was back in the day, and so it got to a point where if some old lady was getting into a fight with me about it, I just pull down my pants, pull them back up, go in the freaking stall, take a pee, and that's it. Like just don't pull my ear. So, anyways, I hope that kids don't have to ever go through that.
Yeah, that's what we fight for, definitely.
Exactly. And I wish they had this is non-binary thing when I was a kid. Oh man,
Yeah.
I kept telling people I don't want to be a boy or a girl. I just want to be me. And
hmm
turned out there's even a term for it now. I love that.
Yeah, I
Anyways,
mean, just know it'll be better for the next generations. That's how I take it, and that's what we fight for, and that's we got to protect them.
Well, better be, because I'll die fighting. Sorry.
I'm like,
I know you gotta get going, so I'm gonna get going too. And hi, everybody. Bye, everybody. And free Palestine.
peace. Geoff, I do have to go, but I'm gonna tag you in the tech team because I think they've been working like on some graphs that correlate with the strike card. So I'll tag you um like in a couple minutes. Is that cool? I can't hear you if you're talking. I can't.